am really honored to be here at this event and to start and open the 9th Manufacturing Excellence event with the largest and biggest general industrial trend of the century, which is called Industry 5.0. As it was said, my name is Mike Parada, and on my business card you will find only one title. It's a human. But at the same time, I'm the founder of Industry 5.0. And to look in the future, we have to look in the past. And right now, I think, let's look back to the year 1905, when this formula was introduced by Albert Einstein. It's the theory of relativity, and probably you know that it was 1905. But what you maybe don't know that just 16 years later, the term robot was introduced. And it was introduced in 1921 in Czech Republic by an author called Karel Čapek. And what is interesting, that 160 years later, in Industry 5.0, we take the same formula, but we put it in an economy. We take it out of the physics and try to ask, what will it mean when it will be the economy will be the E? Every single one of you knows what will be the M, because it is present in every single economy of the world. It will be money. But the question is, what makes economy so, I will call it so valuable that it is in debt globally? What it is? What is the C square? And the C, unfortunately, is corruption. I'm sorry, it is. And this is what made our world into the global landfill. And this is a reality. And not just the word, and I will show you how to get out of it and what Industry 5.0 do without it. What is Industry 5.0? Because many of you know Industry 4.0. But 5.0 is the first industrial evolution. It's not the 5th industrial revolution, it's the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. Generally, it's recovering the missing link between nature and human-made ecosystems. It was introduced on December 1st, 2015 already. And it was introduced by an article called Industry 5.0 from virtual to physical, going against the stream at the time. It is important to say that generally on March 1st, it is already represented in 120 countries of the world. And 26 of them, governments are implementing the Industry 5.0 in the national strategies. And some of you are living in countries which do that already. The last one which did it 4 days ago was Thailand, where the Ministry of Industry introduced the implementation of Industry 5.0. It is based on systematic waste prevention, understanding 5 types of waste, and this is very crucial. Because these 5 types of waste are physical, social, urban, process, and the wasting of time. And what is interesting, it is the fact that all of them can be prevented the same way, using the same methodology which I developed 12 years ago already. We are using something which is called on-the-ground mines. And what are on-the-ground mines? It's you. It's this building, it's the city, it's the country, it's everything what is existing is on-the-ground mines. And I will give you a few examples, few numbers, which maybe if you look at them like this, you will not understand what does it mean. But this set of numbers, I will compare with another set of numbers, which again will be probably not understandable when there is no explanation. And the explanation is rather simple. Because the left one is Singapore. So a country in Asia. The right one is Czech Republic. It's a country in the middle of Europe, in the heart of Europe. But what this number means, it's a population, its area, its GDP rank. And what is even more interesting, to look that Singapore is part of Asia, which has almost 5 billion people. Czech Republic is part of Europe, which has only 800 million. So, can we compare this? Yes, we can. It is important to say who we are. And that's a question which needs to be answered, because we are managers. We are presidents, we are chairmen, we are students, producers, teachers, fathers and mothers. We have many titles, but with every single one of them, we forgot one, that we are human beings. We are living ones, not like this man on country out of Pilsen Brewery. And if we do realize who we are, let's ask the second question: where do we live? Because we live in beautiful cities like Roubaix in France, like Pilsen in Czech Republic, like Paris, Brussels. We live in beautiful cities which we fill with trash. We work in factories which in one day produce more trash than a city in a month. We produce products which frequently, before using the end user, become trash as well, and we store them in big metal houses filled with waste, asking for more to be built. And this is the output of just one shift in a production of factory which produced just carpets for the cars. And these are the engine parts, which did not fit in a waste container. And we leave home next to the output of our production, and we see that something what was called food before, it's called bio-waste today. And we look at the red sky above our heads, asking ourselves, where do we live? I will answer this question to you, and I will answer much more. Because the existing reality is that I was born on December 24th, 1971. At the time, our planet was called blue marble, but it's just 40 years ago, it was not blue anymore. It was covered with environmental damage, and then something very strange happened. Without our intentional change of our behavior, the blue face of the planet showed up again, not because we intentionally changed our behavior, but because a COVID, a brainless virus, locked us down. And this is, as I said at the very beginning, we don't create landfill just on our planet. This is the orbit. Picture generated by NASA in 2017, 157 million pieces of space debris at the time, 8 years ago. Today we are close to 1 billion. There is a landfill above our heads. And what we do to the planet, we hunt for more, because more become the only criteria of success. More money, more people, more businesses, more cars, whatever. Ask Bill Gates, ask Elon Musk, ask anyone how they get on the Fortune 500 list. They will answer, I have more than the others have. But we have only one planet. We are living here in 206 countries according to UN 193. We are speaking 7,000 languages. We are running a lot of cars, but these numbers do not indicate what I just said. They indicate the number of people. When I started, there was 7.7 billion people. Right now it's over 8 billion. But 200 years ago, it was just 1 billion. And in the middle, 100 years ago, it was 1.5. And despite two world wars, 2 world pandemics, we have 5-fold more people living on a planet. And in 2050, some predicts there should be 11 billion people living on a planet. On a planet where, as I said, we live in 206 countries. We speak 7,000 languages. We run 1 billion cars. And we let 9 million people die hungry, despite the fact that every single day there is more than 23.6 million metric tons of food and crop wasted every single day. We let 800,000 people die thirsty, despite the fact that only California crude oil industry is consuming 347 million liters of drinking water every single day. We are planting our food to throw it in a garbage bin because the leaves are not green enough for the buyer in a chain store. We put our overproduction in the rivers, on our landfills, not to spoil the market price. We carry our water in firefighting tanks, not knowing that the same amount of water is needed to produce just one and simple hamburger. And we do it on a planet where one sip of water can save not 1 but 2 lives. We store our packaging in the parking lots of employees, waiting till it becomes waste because it's obsolete for us. This is not picture from a landfill. This is one of the largest producers of one special item, which has walls lined with environmental certificates, and behind the wall, the the same company created a landfill. We put away in a waste product which is not perfect for one, but can save hundreds and thousands of others. And we do it under the supervision of World Bank, which says that till 2050, the volumes of waste globally should, in some destination, be doubled. In the same report of the World Bank, it's written that almost everything can be reused or repurposed, but only 13.5% is being reused and repurposed. And this is what makes the waste industry the third most profitable industry in the world. But the question is, do you know what is the most profitable industry in the world? It is the industry which you will find no numbers about, and still it is the most profitable one. It is the war industry. The second one is the crude oil industry. Third is waste, then drugs, and human trafficking. What are the business models of those? For the first one is the death and destruction. For the second one is the environmental burden creation. The third one is creating the global landfills. Then the addicts are ready to kill if they need that drug. And for the people who are trafficked, generally their life is meaningless for them. What are the on-the-ground mines? I mentioned them already before. In the world, there are 377 million companies or businesses. What is interesting, 200 million out of those are in Asia. 67 in Africa, 34 in Europe. And just in Singapore is registered over 400,000 businesses. And this is why I think that Singapore is not only the center here, but it is important to understand it is built not on virtual topics, because if it will be built on a virtual topics, we will not be here. The hotel will not be here. The city will probably not be here, because it is the physical, palpable result which has been delivered. I just came across a prediction. What business you should take in Singapore to be efficient? And there are 10 different industries. If you look at those, can you tell me which one is a physical one? We will not be able to build and live in the world which is a virtual one only. So what is the reality? Just less than a month ago, the government of Singapore has assigned a warning against so-called deepfake corporate video calls, which are really advanced up to the way that you hardly recognize that it's not your boss. 3 days before this announcement, it was stolen the biggest amount of money in a single hit. It was a cryptocurrency stolen by North Korea. One single hit, few minutes, and 1.5 billion crypto coins has been stolen. But there is much more in the latest reality. Just a week ago or 10 days ago, there was an earthquake which directly influenced 7 countries in Asia. Hardly, some of them very strong. At the same time, there are wars running in times where we should speak and utilize the peace. There are protests. This one is from Turkey, just 3 days ago. And at the same time, just hours ago, this is why I updated this presentation, the Singapore's manufacturing indicator in March was the lowest in 8 months. Industry 5.0 in the age of Industry 5.0 has something which is very different than the original one. Because generally the volumes will decrease, which does not mean the profitability will decrease. In fact, it will increase. The single use will be sign of failure, not like today it is sign of success. 1 quadrillion, this number represents $1 quadrillion US. This volume is generally was in Industry 5.0 value in 2023. We are 2 years later. It delivers results, not just charts on Excel sheet. People will use machines, but will not be used by machines. Wasting will be first and must be prevented from the very beginning. And what is even very different to today's world, that the transparency is a key for success, because it will deliver planning, correct planning, and value-adding people will share the profit. This picture indicates an originally broken vinyl record, which cost 100. But someone take it and make it in a world unique clock, which costs 1,000 at the same time. And this is because he was approaching and doing things in a different way. Because industries is part of society, society must change as well, and the same will be the approach to wasting. Age will be not KPI. The brownfields will be utilized the best way. We should stop running and start walking again. It is important that not the stories but the results will define the success. Society will reunion, and common language will secure the understanding. The quantity is not being followed. Because there is only one home to all of us, and it's the planet on which we are living. We are hearing a lot about the growth, and many share it as a scarcity. It's a very opposite one. The growth is not a scarcity or shortage. It's a wrong approach. It respects the planetary limit, and it does not reduce the profitability. That's interesting. I think that nobody of you knows what is the symbol of the growth. It's diamond. Because if the original material will only grow, it will never become diamond. It was put under pressure, heat, and whatever to become a diamond, the one of the strongest material in the world. The growth does not reduce, the growth does reduce the negative impact on the environment. It fixes the broken social economical system, and it reduces the economic gains. What is interesting, the growth helps us to line up with humans and nature and to grow in a personal development. We have built our future on the top of a pyramid, not understanding that the pyramid has been built not for the living ones to live inside, but to store corpses inside. And when I realized that, I said to me, okay, there is something wrong with that. We need another groundstone for our future. And I created 6R and put it in the part of Industry 5.0. And 6R has added 3 more lines. And I will explain how it works, because it's applicable everywhere. And it's not easy, because firstly you have to recognize that something must not become waste. And trust me, if you wasted the item before, it will be very hard for you to recognize it must not be wasted. But the second step is even harder, because you have to reconsider what you will do with that item. And trust me, your brain says all the time it's waste. So you will fail. You will fail for the first, second, third time. But then when you succeed, you will start to change the world. And the 6R methodology helps you to improve the speed of the ability to recognize. And maybe this example is not the right one, so let me give you another one. Another one which you can apply in your country immediately, right now, right here. Because even in your country, there are the electric power towers. But do you realize that this power tower has just one and only function: to carry the wire from one place to another? Is it enough? Is it enough? The tallest one is 2 meters lower than the Eiffel Tower in Paris. But we have more than just the power towers. We have so-called horizontal wind turbines. This is one of the smallest industrial ones, produce just 1.5 kilowatt, is about so high. What about if we put this power tower, this power generation device, in a power tower? What will happen? I make a calculation when I make a project for one of the largest electricity distributor in the world. And we take every 100th power tower, put just one small unit inside, and we have been able to generate so much power like 6 nuclear power stations with a price which is lower than 1. And and this can be done. What was interesting, that generally waste prevention is not in legislation of the law. And I spent 8 years to write just one simple paper, because it is important to understand that nothing that can be used or utilized again must become waste. Everything must be considered as a pre-waste existing resource, and the secondary use or utilization, it should not be limited to a primary function. Collecting, sorting, baling, and trade is not being considered the secondary utilization. And if not utilized on a place, it must be offered to someone else. But there is one key point. There is no waste if we do not waste. And what is even more strange, not a single legislation in the world defines how waste is created. So it must be part of the framework. And it is important to say that wasting is a process in which a product or material of any kind, or form or volume become waste. Wasting is a system failure and must be prevented first without any limitation or restriction. What is interesting, that the wasting is not a feature of a product or material, but the result of human behavior, and single use is one of the most common forms of wasting. I was asked many times, what was the roadmap of Industry 5.0? As I said, it was introduced on December 1st, 2015. But in 2022, it was called the industrial trend of a decade. 2 years later, it was called by the Big Four the industrial trend of a century. And in 2023 already, the first 6 governments announced the implementation of Industry 5.0 in the strategic development plans of their countries. In 2024, the first trials against the misuse of Industry 5.0 was used, and at the end of 2024, more than 1 million times the term was coined and listed in academic and research papers. And in 2025, at the end, most of the nations in the world will adopt Industry 5.0 in their strategic development plans. Just to give you an example of how it develops in a financial point of view or business point of view, in 2023, the global investment in project named Industry 5.0 was about $5 billion. The highest one was in Canada. It was in the space industry, 1.5 billion. You probably know some of the names of the companies which announced that they will implement Industry 5.0 in their strategic plans. Probably you know some of the countries as well which did that. Industry 5.0 zones was already established in 2023 in China, France, the United Kingdom, and Canada. And there has been more than 500 webinars on universities at the time. In 2024, and just compare these numbers, there was 50 billion, so 3 times as much money invested in Industry 5.0. But the highest investment made Italy in a project called Transizione 5.0, and it was 12 billion US dollars, which are prepared for Industry 5.0 project for 2024 and 2025. There are some more companies, which probably the names are known to you. There are some countries. And there are more Industry 5.0 zones already established. There has been more than double the quantity of webinars and keynotes. But you may ask, because you represent different industries, how these industries will be influenced by Industry 5.0. So let's start with the automotive industry, which faced a big challenge not only in Europe. The new cars production is down. So what can we do about it? What about using and upcycling of the existing fleets? There is 1 billion cars. There is no bigger audience and number of clients than the existing ones which are happy with their car. But nobody offered them something more. But it can be done. Steel industry, there is steel, 3D steel printing. Systematic purpose of what already existing, and the same is for the construction industry. Why not to utilize what we already have, the underground mines? And banking should not aim the debt, but the profit. And that's a key. And there is the next step of industries, because even education is industry. We should not deliver new components of the system, but build up human beings to be flexible, to be, as it was said at the beginning, to be ready for the changes which are here. The power industry. Do not build new power station until we learn how to use and utilize the existing energy. And we do it very badly, because up to 50% of energy is lost between the production and consumption. 50%. The waste industry should not be the third most profitable industry in the world, aiming on having more waste. No, it should firstly prevent waste to happen and help on that and utilize the mines which are waste. And then what about war? War is the biggest waste of all. So let's do everything to end up the wars together and in harmony. And food, agriculture, again, there are new methods. They are existing. We do not need to develop them. They are here. Let's reduce, repurpose. R&D should not be there to generate waste. When they say R&D say and QC department say it's NG, it becomes waste. No. They should find a way how to use it. And there are two components. They are humans and they are society. If we do understand that humans are the key element, we will change our behavior, and it is important. I saw it in all continents, in all 120 countries where there is a network which I lead. We can do it. Because we are inside, we are all the time humans. And it is important to speak the language which everybody understands. Just to show you a few projects which probably you never heard of, but they are part of Industry 5.0. You know that the bio-waste, and not only bio-waste, even textile, can be produced by so-called flameless biochar production technology, developed in 20 years in Australia. It works well. You can do it right now. You can buy it. You can become a partner of this technology. There is a deep water drill using just taking the water up from the depth of 100 meters, just with the wind power. No electricity is needed. Tested in the deserts of the world. And there is more. Telecommunication equipment, secondary utilization. It is here. It is available for more than 15 years, according to my knowledge. Originated in Norway. We have a lot of, we speak about Lean, we speak about Six Sigma, but there are new methodologies, like Kiffen, like Rihaki, like any others, which aim efficiency in a very different way, seeing the human being as the key element. We have high accuracy prediction tools. Let's utilize them. Let's utilize them in a way not to overproduce, because the overproduction is killing us. Killing the planet, killing the business, because nobody is buying at the end. There was introduced just a few months ago in Germany a great sealing robotic systems. You just put it in a room like this, and you can move easily a cargo with a weight of 250 kilos. And do you know, everybody of you have in your office a printer, but do you know that there exists a technology which from printed paper make a clean, new paper directly in your office? It's a Japanese technology. It's existing. It can do 7,000 pages a day. Are you ready to do it? You will cut all the logistic costs. And trust me, they are high. And this technology, for example, reduced the consumption of water in paper production by 95%. We started with the E equal MC squared, and we end with it. But we changed from economy to ecosystem. What do you think is the end? Is the meaningfulness of our work, of our business, of all what we do, and the C, which make it so efficient. It is cooperation. This is why we are here in Singapore, why we are here on the planet. And this, instead of global landfill, will create a wasteless world. And wasteless world was the image and the reason why I created Industry 5.0 from scratch, from something which was never existing. And because we are here in a continent, with 5 billion people, we should create this continent to be wasteless. And Asia is the continent with one of the oldest history. And it is high on poverty level of a global north. Why? Because it should lead and lead the global wasteless world movement in understanding of all the principles which I just introduced to you. I do believe that the governments of Asia can unite, can become in a harmony, build up the world. So, there are tools. I was asked many times, what are the tools we can use? So there are a few of them which you can use immediately. So-called Industry 5.0 approved is a sign, is a stamp which grant everyone that you respect the Industry 5.0 principles. There is Industry 5.0 Strategic Alliance where every single of your companies can join. But the basic condition is that you have to respect the principles and you have to be part of it. We have even introduced the Declaration of Human Rights and Responsibilities, which is not there to substitute the original one introduced in 1948. No, it's the extension, something new. And there is an implementation strategic plan which we already offer to governments because the governments need to align with it when they would like to see the future in a way we predicted to the citizens. Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man, by human. It is based on the mindset, new mindset of business, from wasteful to wasteless. It delivering results without the need of capital investment. And that's important to say. It's based on the principles of systematic waste prevention. It's utilizing the on-the-ground plans which I just described. And it's based on transparency, profit sharing, and efficiency. And please understand why. Industry 5.0 is not and will never be a sales tool or a buzzword. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we are here living in the age where the education of our children was few years ago switched from physical to virtual from one moment to another. Our work was switched the same. And it looks like that the virtual become a standard. But if so, and if the only missing element which was not virtualized yet will be virtualized, which is human, our home will look like this. And this is not a mistake, this is not a failure. Because data don't need any light. When I recognized that, I realized that I do not want to live on the bottom of a black hole, and I decided to build another world. I call it wasteless world. And this is my home. And this is our home. And don't worry, I'm not alone. My name is Mike Rada, I'm human. And as I said, I'm not alone. Together with me, there are 122 ambassadors. 120 represent 120 countries. Two more, one represent all the maritime ecosystem, and one represent the outer space, which is a German lawyer which spent 20 years in development of the space law. And it is important to say that we already reach, and there's not moving, there are two more, if you can help me. Because this network is covering 93% of the human population. Okay, yes. And let me end up my speech with a simple message. The giants start to shrink when the humans start to grow. And we are here to grow. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you the rest of the event to be successful and wasteless for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if there is a time for questions. Okay, so if anybody has a question, I will stay here for the next till 9th generally, but if you have a question, I'm ready to answer. And if not, it's fine. Thank you.